So guys, my journey as a speaker, okay, my topic this afternoon is how to overcome fear and fuel your success. How to overcome fear and fuel your success. You know, fear for me is really a pigment of my own imagination. I remember many, many years ago when I decided to become a speaker, I was very fearful because at the time I was an executive director for a listed business and, you know, enjoyed the perks of life. Had a corner office, had a beautiful PA. I had my own parking with my name and title on it. I thought I was living the life, but I was missing that fulfillment, that real fulfillment. And I realized that I need to follow my purpose. But I was fearful. I was fearful because of one thing. Will I be able to pay the bills? That was my fear. Will I be able to make the same amount of money I was making as an executive director? And then I remember one day I was invited to a speaker's boot camp to Isandlwana. And along the way, I was traveling with a young lady called Vange Makwakwa, a very good friend of mine. And at the time, it was my first time meeting her, and I gave her a lift to the conference. And I remember in the car telling her that, you know, I'm going on this boot camp. I really want to become a speaker, but I'm scared. And she said, what are you scared of? And I told her exactly what I've shared with you. And she said to me, let me give you a quick coaching session. And she asked me a few questions. And ultimately, she said something that just made the pin drop, or the penny drop in that case. And she said, the only thing that's holding you back is the thought of the thing that's holding you back. Our thoughts hold us back very often. In fact, Tim Fargo says, who you are tomorrow begins with what you do today. Who you are tomorrow begins with what you do today. And I think that's very profound and very important. And so today I just want to share with you essentially three things. I'm going to talk about mindsets. I'm going to talk about emotional intelligence. And then we'll talk about, just how then do we develop our businesses so that we don't have this fear? How do we create value and those kind of things? Very important. And I think it's going to dovetail on what the previous speakers have said. So if that's cool, let's get straight into it. Mindsets. You know, I think mindsets are very important. What is mindset? A mindset is our mental attitude that has taken shape based on our life experiences, our environment, our education, the ideas and beliefs we have absorbed from those people we have most interacted with in our lives. And I've heard a lot of motivational speakers saying, you know, you need to surround yourself with people who think higher than yourself. Well, actually, I don't know if that is true, because I believe that you need to empower yourself, improve yourself through continuous improvement so that people want you to be surrounding them. You know, it's very difficult for someone like Obama to want to surround himself with me. I want to be around Obama, but Obama doesn't know me. He doesn't know the impact that I have. And so if I want to get noticed, I need to improve myself so I have an impact on the world. So mindsets are a very important thing. And I just want to take you through Carol S. Dweck's work on the growth and the fixed mindset. And I'm sure you've read a lot about it, but let's go over it again because I think it's such an important thing to understand. When we talk about mindsets, the fact that they shape the lives that we lead, the actions that we take, and the future possibilities of the world we live in is such an important thing. The way that we think impacts the way that we behave. I'll give you a quick example. I'm a Woolies fan, so I go to Woolers, and if there's anyone on this call who's a Woolies person, I've been trying to be an ambassador for Woolies for the last 10 years. Something I'm doing wrong there. Maybe I need to change my behavior. But we're talking about mindset. If I go to Woolies and I want to purchase something, my mindset when I walk into that place is actually so inspired by the environment. You know, I walk into that environment, the place is clean, I know where to find my food, I know the aisles. The way that I think at Woolies will make me leave that place having bought more than I came for to start with. So what is this thing about growth mindset versus fixed mindset, and why are so many people paranoid about it and almost obsessed about it? Well, here are a few ideas that I thought I'd share with you. Firstly, when we talk about a fixed mindset, these are individuals whose intelligence and abilities are fixed. In fact, that's how they think. They think that their intelligence and their abilities are fixed. So I rather just do the things I'm good at. If you're working in a corporate environment, you just want to do what your job description says. If you're starting out your business, you want to just do the bare minimum because, you know what, my neighbor's got a spaza shop, so I'm going to also open a spaza shop and I'll just do what I'm good at. And yet, when you think about the growth mindset, it's a totally different thing. In a growth mindset, you believe that your intelligence and abilities can grow, they can be developed. So I would rather do things where I can improve. And I think that's a better way of looking at things. Here's another aspect. From a fixed mindset point of view, when you're good at something, everything is easy. These are guys who think that specializing in one small area of business is great. And they sometimes leave money on the table because they forget about all the other opportunities around them. The growth mindset is quite different. Every time I stress my brain, it gets smarter. Some people don't like to talk about stress because they think stress is a bad thing. Sometimes stress is a good thing because it pushes you to challenge yourself and to want to do things a little bit better. So every time I stress my brain, it gets smarter. I challenge the status quo. In a fixed mindset, avoiding effort in challenging situations is my goal, right? So you come up with a brand new business idea, you want to launch a new product and service into the market, and you realize, oh, this is so challenging, I won't be able to get finance. But you've just heard now that you can actually go to Standard Bank and get the right type of finance. But sometimes we want to avoid the challenging situations. And yet a lot of the inventions that we see today were not created overnight. Some of them were created over years and years of persistence and people not giving up. And as Cyrus and I always say, stick to itiveness. Perspicacity, I think, is the word that he often uses. Avoiding effort in challenging situations is not my goal. In a growth mindset, I look for real challenges because that's where I can improve. And already you can see between this fixed mindset and the growth mindset where the fear lies. The fear lies in this fixed mindset because we are into mediocrity, we are into complacency, and we don't really want to stretch ourselves. And finally, when I fail, I feel humiliated and unworthy. But the growth mindset is failure is an opportunity to learn. In fact, in all my businesses that I've run, whether it's the speaking business, the possibility of the coaching business, the training business at Twice Blue, we've had a lot of failure along the way. And I realized that failure is a stepping stone towards success. But there's also this collaborative thinking that I think is important. And in a collaborative thinking is where we come together, where we both want to succeed, where we both can put in a lot of personal resources to be successful, where we both can be open-minded, flexible, or have a positive outlook. And sometimes in our businesses, we don't want to partner with people. We don't want to collaborate. We want to stand alone and be isolated and be this island. Our minds have got to shift. Our minds have got to be different. And I think that's very important. So let's talk about the steps to getting the right mindset. It's all good and well that I can share what mindset is and what the difference between growth and fixed mindset is. Through time, humans have shown an immense capacity for change, for revolution, for invention and exploration. No more than in the past few generations, in fact. Yet the question lingers, can we really change? What individuals and groups of committed people can achieve is immense. Mindsets are the core determinant of success versus failure. Do people look for the way through knowing there is one? Or do they give up at some point because they don't believe it really is possible? The power of individual perception is fundamental to how we create our realities. We see what we expect to see. In fact, we see the world through our own eyes. Our limitations are mostly self-imposed. In organizations, those limitations are group mindsets that manifest in behavioral norms and what is expected around those places. So the 5 steps that I believe that can help you develop the right type of mindset for success are as follows. The first one is, think of your mindset as a voice. Let's be honest, how does a mindset manifest itself? It controls the ways you talk to yourself in the privacy of your own head. Now, recognizing this fact is the first step to achieving a growth mindset. As you approach a challenge, that voice in your head might say something like, are you sure you can do it? Maybe you don't have the talent. Or what if you fail? You'll be a failure. And so as you hit back, that voice might even say, this would have been a snap if you really had the talent. Pay attention to your thoughts and see if you frequently tell yourself anything similar. If so, you've spotted the fixed mindset at work, and that's going to undermine your potential of success. The second thing is to choose growth. Now that you know what you're up against, the next step is recognizing that you are not stuck with the thoughts you currently have. You are not a tree. You can move. And so how you interpret challenges and setbacks and criticism is really your choice. You can interpret them in a fixed mindset as signs that your fixed talents or your fixed abilities are lacking, or you can interpret them in a growth mindset as signs that you need to ramp up your strategies and effort, stretch yourself, and expand your possibilities and abilities. Choose growth. The third one is to talk back. When it comes to that limiting voice in your head, feel free to be as sassy as you like in your response. Tell that voice exactly what's wrong with how it's framing situations and actively reformulate your approach to challenges and setbacks to reflect a belief in personal growth. So let me give you an example. So the fixed mindset might say, are you sure you can do it? Maybe you don't have the talent. Have you ever heard yourself speaking to yourself like that? The growth mindset will respond and say, I'm not sure I can do it now, but I think I can learn to do it over a period of time and if I exert enough effort. Fixed mindset will say, what if you fail? You'll be a failure. And the growth mindset responds, most successful people have failed along their journey. Talk back to your mind. The fourth thing is to act. You see, changing the script in your head is a huge step, but the whole point of doing so is to change not just your thoughts, but your actions as well. So don't be content with a remodeled inner voice. Get out there and practice what you preach. Obviously, wearing your mask and social distancing as the health protocols dictate. The fifth thing is to add a three-letter word, and that three-letter word is yet. There's a video by Carol S. Dweck on YouTube where she suggests that just these three letters can have a huge impact on your mindset. You know, the brain is a marvelous organ, the most important organ in the human body, contrary to popular belief by the male species. And I've found that putting in certain phrases like not yet or yet can really boost my motivation. So if someone says to me, I'm not a maths person, I just say, add the word yet, and suddenly the brain starts changing the possibilities. I've never been to Mauritius yet. I haven't been to New York yet. I haven't achieved this yet. I haven't banked $1 million yet. Your brain starts believing in the possibilities. If you understand how neurons work and neuroplasticity in the brain and how the synapses that connect the neurons are able to transfer information and strengthen those bonds so that you can begin to believe in yourself, that is when you begin to move out of this fear realm into the success realm. So let's talk about emotional intelligence for a bit. They say there are 5 areas around emotional intelligence. Because, you know, I always say to myself, Alex, yeah, the brain is brilliant, but isn't it the heart? Actually, the brain controls the way we feel. That's why I started with mindset. But I'm not going to discount the emotional side. And I want to share with you what my belief and my philosophy around emotional intelligence is, and also 5 steps how we can develop better emotional intelligence. So we know that the first element or the first component of emotional intelligence is self-awareness, probably the most important of the 5 components. You see, people with high emotional intelligence are usually very self-aware. They understand their emotions. And because of this, they don't let their feelings rule them. They're confident. I mean, it's one of the questions that came out in the poll from Nikki. They're confident because they trust their intuition and they don't let their emotions get out of control. But I also want to say that emotional intelligence is not about suppressing your emotions. You know, that's not, a lot of people think that, oh, emotionally intelligent people don't react with anger. No, we actually do. In fact, emotional intelligence is your ability to express yourself in a civil way, in a manner that is respectable. So if I'm angry, I can express myself and express to you that I'm angry, but I don't have to curse. I don't have to be rude. I don't have to be condescending. I don't have to be patronizing. I don't have to talk down at you. These people with self-awareness are also willing to take an honest look at themselves. They know their strengths, they know their weaknesses, and they work on these areas to perform even better. Many people believe that this self-awareness is the most important, and I agree. But some of the things that you have to understand about self-awareness is to ask yourself questions or statements like, I recognize my own emotional experiences. That's becoming self-aware. I understand how my emotions affect my thoughts and my behavior. I acknowledge my strengths and my weaknesses, and I don't allow my emotions to get out of control. The second component of emotional intelligence is self-regulation. Self-regulation. Now, this is the ability to control your emotions and impulses. People who self-regulate typically don't allow themselves to become too angry or too jealous, and they don't make impulsive, careless decisions. They think before they act. And the characteristics of regulation are thoughtfulness and comfort with change, integrity, and the ability to say no. Listen, guys, you guys are entrepreneurs. There's going to come a time in your life where you might have to walk away from a good business deal because it doesn't work for you, because it goes against your values, because it goes against your morals. Don't be afraid to say no and say yes to the things that will serve you, that will serve your customers. I'm in control of my impulsive feelings. I take personal responsibility for my emotions. I have the strength of mind to delay gratification. This delaying gratification is about when you're an entrepreneur and a client pays you money, the thing you want to do is just withdraw the money and spoil yourself. Delay that gratification, save your money, reinvest in the business. I mean, draw a salary just like everybody else until your business has grown to the extent where you can really start paying good dividends. The third element is empathy. Motivation, sorry. People with a high degree of emotional intelligence are usually motivated. In fact, I want to just go back to that issue of self-regulation quickly. I'll tell you a quick story of my own personal story. So I have an office in Rwanda, love the country, but me and Tito Mboweni, we haven't yet met on that conversation. I was flying from Kenya. I had a conference in Mombasa, right on the coast, big tent with the accounting professions. And then I flew from Mombasa to Nairobi, spent a night in Nairobi, toured around the town. And then I took off from Nairobi, landed in Kigali, and my staff were waiting for me. And then they drove me to a place called Nyagatare, which is about 3.5 hours from Kigali. We get there in the middle of nowhere. There's this beautiful hotel called Epic Hotel, stunning. There's a basketball court, Cyrus, as you enter the premises. So you and I know that we're in that game. And that evening, as I arrived, I was booked to speak to the Central Bank of Rwanda. And when I get there, I'm invited to dinner by the governor and the 2 deputy governors. We have dinner together and it was all great. The next morning, I am running a half-day workshop on emotional agility, which has got part to do with agility, developing trust, and a lot to do with emotional intelligence. Anyway, I'm sitting here and I'm running the session. There are about 45 senior managers of the central bank. I'm literally saying everyone in this room has got the lowest qualification is an MBA. I hadn't yet qualified with my doctorate yet. So I was just like a literally nobody. There were about 3 doctors in the room and I'm busy sharing about emotional intelligence. And then I thought to myself, let me test to see how well these people can self-regulate their emotions. I'm going to try and as we say in isiZulu, I want to kind of like poke at their emotions. And then I said to them, guys, if you don't mind, I just want to have a quick conversation with the governor in your presence. And I said to the governor, you know, governor, last night at dinner, I didn't like the things that you said to me towards the end of our conversation. And I think you owe me an apology. Well, let me tell you, one of the guys stood up and wanted to literally kick me out of the conference room. I had to end up saying like an American, everybody calm down, everybody calm down. And that was my demonstration to them that sometimes we need to regulate our emotions. And then I said to the governor, how did you feel about my conversation with you? And he said to me, Alex, I wish more people could actually manage upwards and challenge my decisions and question my decisions so that we can grow our organization even better. Self-regulation, very important. We've spoken about motivation. Let's talk about empathy. Empathy, probably the second most important element of emotional intelligence. Empathy is the ability to identify with and understand the wants and needs and even the opinions and viewpoints of those around you. You see, people with empathy are good at recognizing the feelings of others, even when those feelings may not be obvious. And as a result, empathetic people are usually excellent at managing relationships, at listening, and even relating to others, especially during a pandemic like what we're going through now. They avoid stereotyping and judging too quickly, and they live their lives in a very open and honest way. Some of the statements that people with empathy would say are, I understand the emotions and needs and concerns of other people. I have deep levels of empathy. I easily pick up on people's emotional cues. I recognize the social dynamics within a group. If you can relate with some of those statements, you have a high level of empathy. And finally, social skills. Now, it's usually easy to talk to and to like people with good social skills. And this is another good sign of good EQ. Those with strong social skills are typically team players. Rather than focus on their own success first, they help others develop and shine. They can manage disputes. They are excellent communicators. They are masters at building and maintaining relationships. This fifth element of social skills is sometimes referred to as relationship management. It's sometimes related as conflict resolution. So social skills are very important. So you're already beginning to see that from a mindset and an EQ point of view, you're already beginning to reduce the anxiety and the fear of success. But how do we develop emotional intelligence? And I want to share with you 5 ways we can do that, and then I'll share my last aspect in the last 10 minutes. That's if I've got enough time. So I don't want to go over the time. So I think we're doing good for time. Number 1, identify the negative emotions. You see, a large chunk of emotional intelligence lies in emotional management. How well we manipulate our feelings and efficiently use them makes us more resilient and immune to stress. When we can label the emotions that bring us down, we are less likely to get overwhelmed by external adversities and exhaust our mental energy. So you're probably wondering, well, Alex, where do I start? So here's a quick hack, a few hacks that can make the task easier. When someone upsets you or uses harsh words, don't react immediately. Withdraw yourself from the heated situation, take some time to gather your thoughts and choose your response wisely. Sometimes you might not be able to withdraw yourself physically, but in your brain, because the brain is a powerful organ, you can withdraw yourself, breathe in, like I said in the beginning of my presentation, and then choose wisely how you will respond. The second thing you can do is don't jump to conclusions. Check yourself. The moment negative thoughts start clouding up, check yourself. You see, that's the first element of emotional intelligence, the self-awareness, the ability to be able to check yourself when you are getting highly charged emotions. The second thing is self-evaluation. Before observing and understanding other people, watch yourself. You see, to develop EQ, we must learn to assess ourselves objectively and look into our actions from a bird's eye view. Challenge your thoughts by regularly asking yourself questions like, am I thinking the right way? Should I have used those words today? How would I have reacted if I was in that person's position? Is there anything else? Is there another way of looking into this matter? Am I on the right track? The third thing you can do is self-expression, which was the example I shared about my Rwandan trip. Self-expression and emotional intelligence go hand in hand. Without one, we cannot build the other. People who can identify and express their thoughts effectively and in a more socially acceptable way usually are high on EQ. Fourthly, stress management. Now, many of you, I know once you get stressed, you either want to take a quick smoke break or you want to have a shot of something strong, or a lot of people gravitate towards coffee and tea. But let me tell you, the best beverage for managing stress is water. You can drink it, you can splash it on your face, you can take a shower if you want, or a cold bath, but you can avoid caffeine and smoke during the hard times of stress because they don't serve you. Sometimes you want to take a break. So water, taking a break, go for a walk, breathing exercises. That Breathe app on your Apple iPhone, Apple Watch is there for a reason. Have conscious moments where you're having conscious breathing. And finally, empathy as a habit. Empathy is the power, as I've already said, to see the world through other people's eyes. Even at the workplace, even in your organization, even in the business that you run, listening to a colleague, listening to a staff member without judging or accepting harsh words from someone undergoing stress, can significantly build your emotional and social intelligence. So having said all that, we've spoken now mindset, we've spoken emotional intelligence. I want to quickly talk to you about just all the things that you need to know to run your business. And there's just 5 things I want to talk about, and then we'll call it a day. And the first one is about value creation. You see, I think sometimes we fear success because we don't know what value we provide. A business that does not create value for others is not a business, it's just a hobby. The first thing to understand when starting a business is what will drive people to buy into your product or service to start with. You see, people will pay a premium for a service that solves their problems and makes their lives easy. And this is why companies like Amazon exist, like any big business, like some of your organizations exist. People will pay a premium also for products that will elevate their status, like Apple. I mean, I'm going to overtalk Apple because I'm an Apple junkie, but Samsung is also a good product. Sometimes people are looking for that aspirational value. So think about how you can have a product or service that's convenient, that makes people feel special, that provides a solution to their problem. But even if you get this part right, there's still no guarantee that people will buy it, which leads me to the second part, which is marketing. A business that doesn't market is a ghost. You may have the best product or the best service ever created, but if nobody knows about it, it does not exist. So what sort of marketing are you doing to draw and hold your customer attention to your remarkable product? Any business that can do this can move on to the next stage, which is sales. Sales is the lifeblood of the business, and a business that does not sell is not a business, but a non-profit. And as an entrepreneur, you must know when your offer exceeds or falls short of the customer's perception of value. Are you too pricey and not worth the money? Or are you too cheap and too good to be true? Either way, you don't make a sale. Have conversations with your customers, get their insight, build a relationship, and earn their trust, because the more trust a business has, the more sales it makes. You must learn how to build customer trust, which will lead me to the next part, which is value delivery. A business that does not deliver what it promises is a scam. Customer expectation is already high at the beginning of the sales process. And as soon as the purchase is made, the performance of the delivery must surpass expectations if you want them to buy from you again and again and recommend your business to their friends. So how are you exceeding your customers' expectations? What is your turnaround time? How quick do you answer the phone? When you deliver the product, is it the quality that they expected? What systems are in place to ensure delivery of high quality products in a fast and reliable manner? Do you have the right logistics processes in your organization? If you don't, guess what? You have an opportunity today to relook that, to reimagine it, to fix it. And lastly, finance. A business that does not bring in enough money to keep operating will die eventually. All businesses, regardless of size, need to reduce spending in one of the 4 parts I've already mentioned previously, or produce something of greater value to succeed financially. Deep dive into these fundamental business concepts. Learn how to hone your sales strategy, fine-tune your delivery, and drive financial growth. Before I close, I thought I'd share this slide. At the heart of your business is the customer. Customer centricity is everything. So you need to develop and empower your front line of staff, the people that work with you. Maybe you are the front line, because as you start off as an entrepreneur, you might be the MD and the driver. You might be the MD and the person who makes tea for yourself. Empower those that you work with so that they are in a better position to provide the value that you have promised your customers. Be customer focused in your leadership style. Understand your customers and develop metrics that matter. What are you measuring? Are you just measuring your own financial inputs and the sales, the cost of sales and the revenue and the bottom line? Or are you also measuring customer satisfaction, customer interaction, customer integration? How are you designing your customer experience? What is the customer experience? Do you have the basics of customer care covered before you can even get to customer delight, before you can move up to customer experience? And what is the feedback that is continuously driving the improvement in your business? Oprah Winfrey said, when you undervalue what you do, the world will undervalue who you are. Every one of you on this call is worth it. You have businesses that can provide value to your customers. Don't relent. Don't give up on your goals and your dream. Be resilient. Keep pushing, because something inside so strong, I know that I can make it. Though you're doing me wrong, so wrong. You thought that my pride was gone. Oh no, there's something inside so strong. Oh, something inside so strong. Thank you, everyone, and I wish you every success for the rest of today. Thank you.